afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Sports Box, where the only opinion that matters is right here. I am Mike Galetta, aka Hammonton Mike, with another divisional prediction special for you. This time, we're going to go over the AFC South, the AFC North, and what that means is we're going to talk about the fourth place team first, go back to the top, and then we're going to talk about the draft, talk about a little bit of each team, and give you the whole perspective on the records. All right, let's just get right to it. The fourth place team in this division is going to be the Cleveland Browns. Even though Cleveland drafted well, I think, with Danny Sheldon pick at nose tackle and Cameron Irving from Florida State at center, this is a franchise that hasn't gotten it right since. Not that they're on trend to do that, but with what they have in place right now, I just don't see them getting better in the division, with being a tough division, number one. I just don't see them, this is the year to get better. Johnny Manziel coming out of rehab doesn't help either, but they're going to have Josh McCown at quarterback. It's one of the keys to the offense this year. Isaiah Crowell, obviously a good running back, should give them a little stability at running back there. Andrew Hawkins coming over this year, and Brian Hartline coming over this year, anchor the wide receiving core, which is, a fair and okay wide receiving core. And you have Gary Benargi, a tight end this year, should be a little bit of a factor with Jordan Cameron leaving this year. He's definitely going to have to step up and make some plays. And on defense, you have obviously Joe Hayden strong back there, cornerback. Carlos Dansby at linebacker should give them some stability in the middle. And Danny Sheldon, the nose guard, who, like I said, was drafted this year, is going to get put in there right away to get fed to the Wolves. But again, I just don't think Cleveland has enough of the horses. I think they're going to be okay this year. They won't be the doormat of the league, but they're going to be in the bottom 5 of the league, I think. They open up at New York, the Jets. And then at one stretch, they have at San Diego, at Baltimore, home against Denver. So that's going to be a tough stretch for them. I just don't see Cleveland getting it done this year. I have them at 5-11 this year, and one of the worst teams in the league this year. The number 3 team in the division we're going to talk about is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh did have a good draft with Bud Dupree. I think it was a very good draft, linebacker out of Kentucky. Definitely need some more juice on defense with the loss of Palomalo and some other key components on defense. I think that's where they're going to struggle this year. And obviously they're going to struggle a little bit on offense with the loss of Le'Veon Bell for 2 games and Marcus Wheaton for 2 games. But in the same sense, I think they'll be okay. They're not going to be a force this year. I think Pittsburgh's got to find their way back a little bit. Key components, obviously, Ben Roethlisberger. Antonio Brown, wide receiver, always solid. D'Angelo Williams, great offseason pickup. They're going to have him sub in there until Le'Veon Bell comes back. And who knows, with D'Angelo Williams the way he is, he could not take some carries, but be mixed in there a little bit with Le'Veon Bell. Marcus Wheaton, like we talked about. Darius Haywood-Bay is in there as well. I don't know how much they're going to mix him in. They're going to need him for a little while for, take over for the suspension a little bit. So, he could be in the mix there. On defense, you have Cameron Hayward at defensive end. Could be, is going to be okay. Steve McLennan at nose tackle. You look at Lawrence Timmons at linebacker. William Gay at cornerback. And, the newcomer, Josh Scobie, a kicker. So that's going to be interesting as well. All the kickers in the league this year is going to be very interesting with all the extra points being moved back. So Pittsburgh's an interesting topic. I think their defense is going to struggle a little bit. I think their offense should be okay until Le'Veon Bell gets back, and then they'll pick up a little more juice. But they open up at New England, which is going to be a tough test on Thursday night to open the season. And then the last 3 games of the year are going to be home against Denver, at Baltimore, at Cleveland. That's going to see where if Pittsburgh can possibly get in or not. I think they might be able to sneak a wild card in. This is a tough division. This is a really good division that they have. I think Pittsburgh ends up 9-7 this year, and in the AFC, that's going to be tough to get a wild card. But Pittsburgh has a chance, but I see them number 3 in the division. The number 2 team in the division I have is the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore, good draft with Brashid Perriman out of Central Florida, wide receiver. It's going to help them out a little bit with with the loss of Torrey Smith to San Francisco. I think he'll fill in nicely there. Obviously key components on offense for Baltimore is Joe Flacco, going to have a good year. I think Justin Forsett going to see if he can have a bounce back year, considering the year he had last year. Let's see if he can do it again this year. Crockett Gilmore, here's a guy to watch at tight end. With the loss of Owen Daniels, off to Denver. this guy's got to step in and he make some plays, and I think he will. Kamar Aiken at wide receiver, again, going to step in, try to fill in some shoes of Torrey Smith, and obviously Steve Smith. There's a guy who still going strong, the aging Steve Smith. Defense, Chris Canty, defensive end. You got Terrell Suggs, obviously a linebacker. Elvis Dumerville at linebacker. And you got Lavarius Webb at linebacker. The nice thing about Baltimore is they got a solid defense. It's year in, year out good to keep them in games. I see Baltimore as a good team this year. I really do. They're going to be at Denver the opening game. They open up the season. And then after the bye week, they go home against Jacksonville, home against St. Louis, and at Cleveland. So that's a nice little stretch for them. Again, competitive division. I see Baltimore number 2 in the division. I see Baltimore at 9-7, in contention for a wild card, even a division run if everything falls right for them. So I definitely see Baltimore in the mix and in the playoffs. Number 1 team in this division is going to be Cincinnati. Cincinnati picking up Jake Fisher in the draft from Oregon, offensive tackle to shore up the line again for Andy Dalton. Good pick. Some key components for Cincinnati are Andy Dalton, Jeremy Hill, running back, Mohamed Sanu, a wide receiver, obviously A.J. Green, solid receiver, and Tyler Eifert coming back, off a couple injuries last year and some, not use at the tight end position. I think he's going to be a good tight end. Defense changed around a little bit with the addition of A.J. Hawk, leaving Green Bay, coming over to Cincinnati at linebacker. You also have Geno Atkins at defensive tackle. You have Adam Jones at cornerback, which should anchor that secondary pretty well. I really see Cincinnati doing some things this year. I think they're going to be solid again. Question is if they can do anything in the playoffs, but for now, they're definitely in, I believe. Their schedule, they open up at Oakland. And then in a stretch, they're going to have a tough stretch at Baltimore, at Kansas City, and Seattle. So you're going to see what Cincinnati's made of. I think they stand the test. They're going to be 10-6 in this division and number 1. So that's what I have for the AFC North. Thank you for watching. It's all the time we have for the AFC North right now. Keep watching for some other divisions, some other specials. And remember, the Sports Box, where the only opinion that matters, is right here. Thanks for watching. Take care.